Oh! Oh, Jesus Christ, hello. That could have been bad. Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. Today we're going to be going over some more changelogs from War Thunder, and the reason is because they're coming out thick and fast, and I really think the reason is right now is because we're in one of those periods of time in War Thunder where it's between events. You know, the next battle pass hasn't come out yet, and also you're going to have the summer events probably in August, and now is the greatest time to be able to fix, I suppose, things or change things in the game, because you don't want to do that during events. If you end up doing that during events, it can screw a bunch of people when it comes to the way that the game plays. So that's why it seems over this last maybe few weeks or period of time, there's just been so many changelogs coming out and so many little changes to the game. But anyway, let's get into them. So the first one is a simple one. It was just 2.7.0.123, and all they did was fixed an incorrect leg placement of tank crew in some vehicles with an open cockpit when using X-ray. So basically meaning that now the X-ray makes more sense and it actually shows what is going on, but a very small change. The next update was on the 21st, and a lot more meaty. This was 2.7.0.124, and they added a ton of improvements, not just for fixes, but also aircraft and naval stuff. There was a lot of things that changed over the last few days. So the first set is blurring effect. The edges of the screen has been improved for the shell chasing camera. So once again, doing more improvements to a new mechanic in the game. I've said in the past, for me, the shell chasing camera is a really interesting and cool system, but at the same time, I can't use it because it screws up my ranging fire a way that I fire, so it kind of sucks. Expiration dates for achievements now displayed in red if the achievement is not completed in the required time. So just to let people know that it did expire. I really hope on the next season of the Battle Pass they remove the expiration dates, or what they do is they make them a little bit longer. Some of them I did feel quite pressured into doing pretty quickly because of those dates, and I understand that other people don't have as much time as I do when it comes to the game, and it's just a negative for them. So I would prefer it if that was not the case. Inactive expired challenges in the Battle Pass now displayed in a grey colour and with a corresponding icon. So once again, just making clear what is available and what is not. Sight markers for ground vehicles now won't shift while aiming through smoke. So that, if I'm reading that correctly, and I might be completely wrong about this, but one of the interesting things about when you look at smoke, especially in a third-person point of view, is your barrel doesn't actually look where you are looking, if that makes sense. There's a little bit of a jitter off to one of the sides, and I'm wondering if that's talking about that when it comes to aiming through smoke. So you don't set up a shot in, let's say, first person and then change to third, and then it just completely misses. If that's the case, that is one of the issues that War Thunder has had for a very long time. It's not a huge one, so it's not talked about too much, but I remember this since smoke has been introduced. So if that's fixed, that's awesome. A bug has been fixed that caused torpedoes to damage friendlies in naval battles. That is hilarious, the fact that you were able to do that. But luckily, it is fixed. A bug has been fixed that caused vehicle trembling while hull aiming with high ping. That was definitely an issue when it came to it. I definitely found during when I played the cheese wedges, when I was on higher pings, so when I was on the EU server compared to the NA one, it was a lot harder to play the machines. There was a lot more variance in how they played, and that was a big issue. A bug has been fixed that made it possible for vehicles with hull aiming mechanics to turn with a damaged engine or while repairing. I remember before, if you had a transmission out or an engine out, you could still go up and down with the cheese wedge, and I'm guessing that they've removed that as well. I was shooting a bunch of cheese wedges recently over the last few days, and it definitely seems like they don't have that anymore. A bug has been fixed that caused a gun on a vehicle with hull aiming to aim incorrectly and continue swinging after pointing to aim via binoculars. That's also good. Nice to see that they're continuing to refine the mechanic. What is also interesting to me is if there will be any other vehicles added to the game which will have this mechanic. There is obviously the STRV-103B, which has been seen in the files previously, especially when Sweden was released. And then also there's the 103D machine from the 90s, the prototype upgrade that never really went anywhere. So I suppose there's those, but I'm wondering if there are any other options, any other vehicles that we may see thanks to this mechanic. The STRV-103C, a bug has been fixed that reduced elevation angles in hull aiming mode. And then the VT-12, another machine that uses the hull aiming mechanic, a bug has been fixed that caused shaking while selecting a second right gun while aiming from a slope, and also another bug has been fixed for it that allowed hull aiming at unacceptable speeds. Oh, that's a funny way of putting it. So you won't be able to quick switch to those things, which is kind of fun. A bug has been fixed where when viewing a replay in naval battles, pressing engine control buttons might cause the sound of changing vessel speed. So there you go, simple as that. Password mask char won't appear anymore in the password field in the login screen. Oh, well, that's good. This is a good point to actually talk about this. So, two-factor authentication. You should always have two-factor authentication on anything that you have, really. But when it comes to your Gaijin account, you can actually download the Gaijin Pass on your phone. It's a app for Gaijin, and it gives you like all the news and the rundowns of what's going on. But also it has a built-in authenticator, so you can use that for your Gaijin account, and I highly recommend it. It's something I've used, for years, and it's prevented, obviously, or it's protected my account for many years as well. The distance for viewing shells falling from or falling in the shell case camera has been reduced. Interesting. We'll have to see how that benefits the camera itself. A bug has been fixed that prevented completion of historical campaigns to Scratch One Flat Top, American Strike, and Fate of Hiryu in RB mode. I wonder what the bug was. That would be interesting to find out. A bug has been fixed with crosshair marks on ground vehicles that might overlap the indication of a distance, and also a rare bug that disabled gun control has been fixed. Well, that kind of been very fun. They also have, once again, some ground vehicle model changes. The Type 60 ATM gets a change. I tell you what, the Type 60 ATM might be one of the most annoying vehicles in the game to fully modify, but also, at least it has scouting nowadays. Previously, overestimated repair time for the anti-aircraft machine gun and AT-GEM launchers has been reduced. Lovely stuff. Big buff for the Type 60 ATM. Very happy to see this. I'm sure it will now be a world beater. The EPR 1954, the values and numbers of gear ratios have been updated in order to increase the cross-country ability. So there you go. I saw a lot of people were talking about the mobility of the EBR and the issues with it. Many talk about the fact that you should be able to raise the center wheel so it's faster on hard ground, but when it comes to the vehicle, it's been explained many times, I believe publicly, by several different Gaijin employees about the fact that right now in the game, they're not able to do that, right? It isn't modeled, and they understand the issue, but it keeps getting brought up over and over and over again. I'd also like people to have a look at the mobility trials of the machine in cross-country conditions, because I feel like a lot of people just look at the fact that it had these huge wheels on it, and therefore, it had really good traction, so therefore it was really, really fast. It wasn't actually that fast. It was a good speed, but it wasn't, the 100 kilometers an hour, which is sometimes something you get brought up. The Roycat, or modifications, the values and numbers of gear ratios have been updated in order to increase its cross-country ability. This is very positive. It's definitely an issue. With the Roycat, I spaded the MTTD more recently, and I found that in any conditions which were cross-country, it was incredibly slow. The Object Nano 6, The vehicle in test drive now corresponds to the post-war period. Makes sense because of its BR, and also because of what it is. The Warrior and the 9P1572, the gear ratios to eliminate jerking between the I and the N gears, or the first and the neutral gear, I suppose that's talking about, turning on the spot, has been adjusted, so we'll have to give that a go. All the modifications to the T-72, the order of the ammo consumption has been corrected. Previously, one of the shells in the rear part of the turret was used as the last one. Well, that's kind of odd, so nice to see that fixed. And then the M60A3 TTS, and then the Chinese variant, the Type 61, and also the SU-12254. The order of the ammo consumption has been corrected. So a few very minor changes there, but the fact is, with the EBR and the ROICAT, we're going to have to test their mobility, see if they have improved at all. Then also, we have some aircraft changes. The Whirlwind Mark 1 and Whirlwind P9, so the event one, a bug with the displaying of the aircraft armor in the X-ray view has been fixed, which is really nice. Then also you got the B-25, all of the modifications. Aircraft armor has been corrected. Armor material has been changed from steel to duralumin. Oh, I always struggle with that one. Duralumin. It's a tough one. That is a very tough word. The F5A and F5C, a bug that could make the aircraft keel to tear off together with the engines, has been fixed. That sounds very interesting. I suppose it means that it would turn over. The Key 49s, all of them, a bug that caused the gunner of the lower turret being able to fire through the fuselage, has been fixed. I'm happy that they've fixed that, but there's also some more bugs with Japanese bombers. Not the Key 49, but the other one. I can't remember its name. It might be Key 64 or something similar to that. The front gunner sometimes just points straight up into the air, which is a real problem when it comes to it. So, and it means that the default position is way away from the target that you're going to attack. And that's obviously not good. The F9, F5, the ANAPG 30 radio rangefinder has been added. Oh, that's really cool. We're going to have to test that out. And then the PV2D, mechanism for protecting aircraft keels from fire from the upper turret, has been corrected. Lovely. The turret fire no longer bends around keels when aiming. Instead of this, the possibility to fire will be blocked. And then the F1, the ballistic calculator for bombs has been added. So it was removed from the T2 before, and I don't know if the F1 had it, but now it does. So there you go. It should be easier to bomb with that thing. And then the MI-35M, a bug with the black area on the edges of the ATGM sights, has also been fixed, which is lovely. Then some fleet changes, the PR-123 BIS, 123K, and also the premium. Lack of dead zones when aiming cannons has been fixed. So now it means that they should have more limited capability, which obviously isn't great. The Emden, the traverse angles of the main caliber turrets have also been corrected, so hopefully they're a bit more realistic. Then VR, once again, getting some improvements. The performance in VR mode with streamer mode turned off has been improved. Lovely. A bug that caused Steam VR to crash after exiting the game has been fixed. Once again, very positive to see. And cockpit shake when using Pimax helmets has also been fixed. So hopefully you guys on the VR side of things have enjoyed the changes. I'd like to know some thoughts on the VR stuff, since obviously I don't really partake in it. Has it improved since last update? Is it in a much better position? Does it need, a bit more work? What are the general thoughts? And today we had a server update which had all of the planned economy changes which have come into the game now. So make sure, if you haven't checked out the economy stuff, to do so. It is incredibly important just to see what has gone on. They've changed a bunch of placements of vehicles, and also stuff such as the repair costs, and also SL reward multipliers. And also the main thing that they've changed changed. There's a new formula for calculating game activity. Now, that is very important because that is tied to the outcome of the game when it comes to how much RP and also SL you get. I'm going to be testing this over the next few weeks. We're going to have to see how different it is compared to the previous systems, if it's positive, if it's negative, all of that good stuff. Also, in Aircraft SB, they've also changed it as well when it comes to the system of rewards, so that will also need a little bit of testing. I did make a video on all of these changes before. There's an economy update video that came out last week. If you want to check out all the changes, make sure to do so. Just understand that now they are all implemented, so simple as that. So if you see anything weird in the tech tree where things are or things have moved, then this is why. Also, the F9F2, a bug that made it possible to mount Tiny Tim missiles on the aircraft without researching the appropriate modification, has been fixed, which is lovely. That's how it should be, and it's nice to see that they fixed that real quick, and also gave some Tiny Tims to the F9Fs, or at least the F9F2. Those planes are in a really rough place. It's very hard to use them over the better vehicles that are at the same BR for America. They've always been in a rough place for a long time, though. At least the Cougar, one of the nicest looking aircrafts in the game, now has some stock missiles to give it a bit of a boost. As always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. I'd like to thank BRFC, Swollen Ostrich, Teddy, John Ryman, Universe, Conte Baraka, Eugens Terry, Ambrosius McClellan, Daniel Stanton, Martinez, B. Young, Lafouche, Barine, and Samuel Schlick for supporting the channel.